a girl named Judah, remained. To protect Elbin's heir, Gavin, she was raised alongside him. 2 years later, they were joined by Gavin's younger brother, Theron. When Gavin and Judah were 8 years old, a girl from a family of minor aristocrats, Eleanor of Tiernan, was brought in to serve as Gavin's betrothed. Judah and Gavin developed a way of using their bond to communicate, a code scratched into their skin to send messages to each other. Together, the 4 young people grew to a weird, halting version of adulthood. Tradition in politics dictated that Gavin would rule the empire, Ellie would marry him and bear his children, and Theron would command his army. Judah's only job, though, was to survive, so that Gavin would. Neither Gavin's father nor the Seneschal who managed his household understood their strange connection, but they understood that Judah must be kept close and tightly controlled. When she showed an interest in reading, the library was banned. When she fell in love with the stableman, Darid, the Seneschal sentenced him to death and had her caned. The more time passed, the more she resented her fate, as the completely unwarlike Theron resented his, and the smart, ambitious Ellie resented hers. Only Gavin, living in a world created for his amusement, was happy, and that didn't last. Gavin's father was determined to break the bond between Judah and his son. To that end, he waged war on the Nolly, a nation of people known for the uncanny mental connection between their fighters. While capturing a Nolly leader, he was injured in a coup perpetrated by his own men and died soon after returning to the city. With him died the lavish world of courtiers and luxury inside the house, and into the old man's place stepped the Seneschal, whose vision for the house and the city surrounding it was very different than the one Mad Martin and his heirs had built. The Seneschal didn't want to break the bond between Gavin and Judah. He wanted to understand it, to control it, and, most important, to replicate it, so their scratch code could be put to use over a broader network. The Seneschal thought the Nolly leader was the only one who might know how the bond worked, and so he kept the prisoner alive. In the empty, looted house, the 4 young people worked to eke out something like survival. When she discovered that Darid hadn't been murdered after all, and that Gavin had known and pointedly not told her, Judah fled to an abandoned tower in the oldest part of the house. The House Magus, Nate Clare, who lived in the city with his young apprentice, Belinda Dovetail, told the Seneschal he could convince her to come down, so that the Seneschal could experiment with the bond. So the Seneschal agreed to let Nate into the house. But Nate had no intention of bringing Judah down from the tower, which was, of course, the same tower where Mad Martin's scholars had bound the power so many years before. Nate was Slonimi, and he had come to the city for the sole purpose of teaching Judah about the work so she could complete the unbinding. He taught her to access the energy leaking from the knot Mad Martin's scholars had tied all those years ago. The tower wouldn't let her die, he promised, but the unbinding would require the death of all of Mad Martin's heirs, and the only 2 remaining were Theron and Gavin. As Ellie, unknowing, held off the Seneschal at the house gate, Nate killed Theron himself and urged Judah, in the tower, to slit her foster brother's throat. Instead, she jumped. Because Nate had said the tower wouldn't let her die, and she didn't. Nate was sent to prison, and Gavin and Ellie were spirited out of the city by the Seneschal's men, but Judah knew only a timeless white. When the world finally began to form around her again, months had passed. She was a long way from home, and everything she knew was different. Prologue. The Magus trapped Judah and Gavin in the tower. He wanted her to kill Gavin, to accomplish something he called the unbinding, and obviously she refused to do that.